in terms of play calling, when you and Clay first met up before you took the job, was it clear to you that that would all fall to you, or is that something where you guys have collaborated somewhat? Or
no, he made it clear that he would let me just call it, and you know, I think if you ever want any kind of rhythm and stuff, he's got to let you do that, and so that was clear. And then during the week, he sits in and he watches, and he helps with game plan and stuff like that. So he's a great asset to have. He's obviously coached offensive football for a long time, but when it comes to game day, he just lets us do our thing, and then lets us try to go execute and play fast. And then, like I said, he's been great about always saying, for a play call, I know you got to get in a rhythm, and so between series we can talk whatever if you got questions, but when we're rolling, just go do it. So it's been fun, and like I said, I think that's probably the best way to do it, in my opinion.
Did you make every call in that game, and was that every play that was called?
Yeah, I called them all.
Kind of take us through the adjustment you had to make once you realized how they were going to play you and how they were going to come into the run from that point.
Well, we knew they were probably going to drop 8, you know what I mean? And so, we knew going in we needed to run the ball well and needed to be physical. And I thought they did a really good job, honestly, of being physical, and they deserve a lot of credit for that. I thought the D-line really did a good job, and if you're only going to have 3 down there, they've got to really do a good job of holding points and stuff like that. And if you go back and watch on the plays where we had good runs, we usually moved the down linemen, you know what I mean? And in plays where we struggled, the D linemen kind of held their own. And like I said, you got to give them credit; they did a good job of holding their own. But like I said, going in, we knew that there was probably a high possibility we were going to have to do that. After Keaton threw his second interception, also you try to let him get settled in and try to take some off of him. And like I said, I think at times we did a good job. They did a good job too, honestly. I think they had a good game plan against us, and we had long fields most of the night. And if you got long fields, you got to play pretty good to go score if they're not going to give explosives. And I think that was probably the game plan, to take away explosives. And they did a pretty good job of it, like I said. And I thought at times we really did a good job moving the ball as well. We just got to be consistent.
Did they do anything different after the first drive?
No, they did the exact same thing almost every snap, the entire game, honestly.
If that becomes a blueprint other teams use, how do you get the passing game going as you'd like it to?
I think, like I said, I think if they're going to do that, we just got to dominate up front. And the more you see it, I think the more comfortable Keaton will get with it too. And we don't see a ton of that every day. And it's easier when you get to practice against certain things every single day. And like I said, we don't see a ton of 3 down or drop 8. But again, we still got to go execute. Like I said, at times I thought we did a really good job executing. And at times you got to give them credit; they held their own and forced us into tough situations. And so it was just a battle, and they made more play than we did.
When it comes to just the art of play calling, is that something that you felt came naturally to you, like having been a quarterback, or is that something that you even had to learn yourself and sort of get in the rhythm?
I think that you're always learning, and I think probably the biggest thing that I learned from year 1 in North Texas, year 2 in North Texas, was call plays that quarterback likes, not plays that I like. You know what I mean? And so, my first year in North Texas, I felt like I called all the plays that I liked when I was a player. You know what I mean? I'm like, man, I would light this up if they called this for me. And then, you got to figure out that I'm not the one lighting it up anymore. You got to make sure that the quarterback likes it. So I think probably from year 1 to year 2 in North Texas, that was probably the biggest adjustment, probably the biggest learning curve I had ever as a play caller. But as you go, I think you always learn, and you're always evolving, and you're always trying to improve. But I think that was probably the biggest lesson I ever learned calling plays was, really figure out what does that quarterback execute at a high level. What does he feel comfortable with? What does he see well? And if you call those plays, usually they work. And so, I think that's where I grew the most probably from year 1 to year 2 in North Texas. And again, you got to just continue to evolve and continue to grow.
When you're going to go second, they kick a field goal in overtime. When do you decide we're going to run the ball the first couple of plays? How does that decision get made?
I just call what I feel, to be honest with you. There was never like a discussion about it. The first play, we had a shot at it. They came in and chopped the H-back, but there was a little hole in the A-gap, and we just it flashed and we didn't see it. And then second down, we were trying to get some back, and we got it to a third and really manageable, honestly. And so I thought we were in good position, and we just make a mistake on third down, to be honest. But if you look at it, we had opportunities on both those run plays to get some yards, and then on that third down play, again, just made a poor decision, and But again, they made one more play than we did all night. You know, if we take care of the football, we probably win the game. It's probably not in overtime, to be honest with you. And so we have to, you know, learn from that and grow from that. And I think that we will. And you know, be better next week.
With the benefit of hindsight, is there a play among that series that you would want to change?
Yeah, I like them all. You know, that's why I called them.
Do you feel like you have a real grasp at this point on the plays that he likes to run?
Yeah, you know, and you, like I said, sometimes they tell you one thing and then you look at the film and it's something different. So not only do you have to figure out what they think they like, but what they execute well. You know what I mean? And it's and really he does a pretty good job with most of it. I think he has a pretty good grasp for most of it. But there's definitely plays that he executes, and you can look at numbers and stuff like that at a higher level. And so that's what we try to get into, especially in important downs and big situations. You know, third downs and red zone situations. When we need a play, I usually try to call something that I know, one, lines up well against their defense, but also at the same time something that he really likes and he sees well and he executes well. And like I said, that's usually, even if you make a bad call, the quarterback likes it, somehow it works. You know what I mean? And that's my experience as a player, and as a, you know, everywhere I've been, plays that the quarterback likes, somehow they always find a way to work. And so try to get those.
When you were
one more here for him, and your message to him.
Yeah, I mean, we got to take care of the football more than anything, and I think as an entire unit, at times we got undetailed on some things, and you know, with alignment, it's usually like with steps or whatever. You know, I think with receivers, a lot of times you'll see it in the depths of the routes and stuff like that. They'll get short or they'll get too deep or something like that. You get undetailed, and I think with quarterbacks, when they get undetailed, you see it in the decision making and stuff like that, and they just kind of start guessing and skipping reads. And so that's what I told him was, no matter what happens and no matter what the situation is, we have to be disciplined enough to continue to go through our read every single snap. And you know, like I said from day one, kind of as an offense, our motto is to be selfless, tough, and disciplined. I thought, you know, they did a really good job being selfless the other night. I mean, from what what the guy on the sideline said, no one was complaining. And you know, I don't know how many passes. I think we had 30-something passes, which isn't terrible, but 34 passes. So, but it's not as many as we usually throw probably. But the receivers weren't griping about it. You know what I mean? They were just going out there and trying to do their jobs when the ball came their way, and in the run game trying to block. So again, I thought they did a really good job being selfless. When adversity hit, no one complained. I didn't see any panic or anything like that. So again, I think that's a good sign of toughness. I just think we've lost some discipline at times, like I said, in depths of routes, with quarterbacks, with reads and stuff like that, with alignment, sometimes it's steps. And so that was my message, not only to Keaton, but to the entire offense, was we got to be detailed, and that comes down to being disciplined. That's who we say we are. And so we got to be disciplined enough to just do our job and focus on our job every single snap. And if we do that, we'll be fine. And so that's, like I said, kind of what I told Keaton was, no matter what the situation is, no matter what the play is, just be disciplined enough to go to your reads. And there's times on that film where he's kind of skipping one, or you kind of see his head turn too fast. And it's like, this is an example. Hey, be disciplined enough to look at that guy because he was open. You know what I mean? I know maybe you didn't think he was going to be open, whatever the case may be, or you're feeling kind of, you know what I mean, you're not feeling comfortable back there. That's fine. Be disciplined enough to go through your reads. If you do that, you'll be fine. Like I said, he's going to be a special player, and he's a youngster, and sometimes you're going to make some mistakes. And no matter how old you are, you're going to make some mistakes. You know, Matt Ryan's been in the NFL for 30 years or whatever, and he probably made some throws last night he wish he had back. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter who you are or how long you've been playing. There's going to be plays you wish you had back. But I think the key is to always just try to learn from it and grow from it, and he'll do a great job of that because that's the kind of kid he is.
Great. Thanks. Yeah, thanks,